kindergarten teacher at J.B. Kelly. Maureen?
Hi. Thanks, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to be part of this really important discussion. As Ron said, my name's Maureen O'Driscoll, and I'm a kindergarten teacher at John B. Kelly, which is in the Germantown section of Philadelphia. I'm entering into my 6th year at that school and my 15th year teaching. I have my master's in education from Drexel University, so I've been around the city. Ron asked me to come and talk about how state control has hurt our schools and how returning local control can help. So let's start with how the state has hurt our schools. We didn't create this fiscal disaster that we face right now. We did not create this mess. The SRC did. But yet Harrisburg is telling me as a teacher that I need to step up. I need to step up. I had perfect attendance at school last year, just so everybody knows, Harrisburg, Mr. Corbett. I went to school every day. And I was dedicated and I worked, I spent my own money, I worked hard. And as a teacher, I just shake my head because there's so many of these buzzwords being thrown around, like accountability. Well, who's holding the SRC accountable? We get our 3 minutes to talk, but parents, community members, let's see if we can get this back on. Here we go. We're shut out of the decision-making process, and it is not okay. And that process is the process that directly impacts our children and the teachers and the work that we do here in the city. Those people on the SRC that are appointed by the governor, they're accountable to the governor. They're not accountable to us, the people. And it's clear that Harrisburg wants to starve our schools of resources, declare our district failing, and turn it over to corporate privatizers, and it's wrong. It's not! So, is it in the best interest of our students to have a nurse 3 days a week? How about counselors? How about a school library with a librarian? Is it good for the children to lose art and lose music and lose gym and then be tested to the point of abuse? Yes. That's what this leadership of the SRC has given us. That's what the leadership of the SRC has provided for the children of Philadelphia, and we must do better. Yes, we can do better. And I feel that local control is a great step in the right direction because it gives the decision-making power back to the people who truly care about the children of Philadelphia, and the people who are going to make decisions that are in the best interest of our children in Philadelphia. And here in Philadelphia, we've seen success when parents and community members come together and fight the Marin and the other schools that wanted to be turned into charters. Those parents said, no, we're not going to let this happen. We're going to fight for our children. And that's the true spirit of local control. And a great example is our sister city across the state in Pittsburgh. Over there in Pittsburgh, they have a elected, locally controlled school board in Pittsburgh. And those people have made decisions based on the best interests of their children. They said no to policies that favor corporate reformers. We can do the same thing. Yes. We can make a difference, we will make a difference. And local control is the first step in giving us back that voice, giving us back that power, and giving us the opportunity to provide our children with a first-class education. A fully funded, locally controlled, first-class education, which is what the students of Philadelphia deserve, and it's what all of us as Philadelphians can feel proud of. That's right. And I think that to get the petitions in and all that, we can't stop now. We've got to get the council to vote so that in September we all vote on it and we say power of the people and we take our voices. I know that's right.
All right.
That's just my perspective as a teacher.
Hey.
Day in and day out with the kids.
First for me.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Our next two speakers are two students. The students, of course, are the ones they're paying the most from these policies. We have 2 students from Boat People SOS, which is a South Philadelphia Vietnamese student organization. We have Kenneth Black, who's a student at Central High School, and Cassandra Manathan from Girls High. I think if you hold that in, it works best.
Hello. My name is Cassandra Middleton, and I'm a rising senior at the Philadelphia High School for Girls. And Boat People SOS has given me the privilege to speak here and give my take as a student in a public school in Philadelphia. So as members of the community, we already know how flawed the educational system is, especially in Philadelphia. But as students, we are the ones immediately affected by the decisions of the state. So we shouldn't blame the teachers or the students. We blame those in power.
That's right.
Those who control what goes into our schools, and more importantly, those who control what goes to other institutions. Ever since my time at Girls High, from freshman year to junior year, we faced many crises. Luckily, we were fortunate enough to have our school standing and keep what we have. However, there are those schools there are more than enough schools that have closed due to lack of funding, and my friends were forced to find different schools. And students shouldn't feel abandoned, especially when it comes to education in schools where academic and emotional support are the top priorities of students. So in my last 2 years, I've seen the best teachers resigning from their school district. And they went to search for better opportunities. But what does that say about the Philadelphia School District if they can't even serve the teachers? Students are responsible for learning and developing themselves. But if the school lacks the resources, staff, the teachers, and supplies and support, then our responsibility rises past that of the average student. When the quality and morality of our education is sacrificed, it shows our future isn't in their best interest. Then, these institutions become corporations like any other, where staff is at their expense and students are just test subjects. Until this week, I never really questioned what the purpose of education is. Immediately, we associate education with school, but of course, it goes past some workforce subjects and extracurriculars. In a practical sense, education is to train youth to be sufficient in society and the real world. Ryan Muldrew said, youth must be trained in living versus how to make a living. This brings up the question whether or not education at a public institution is even successful. In some cases, it fails the individual. Since the school system is so set in stone, it disregards the individual factors such as economic advantages or disadvantages, willingness, quantitative resources, and support that the student has. As much as students, teachers, and the whole school community wishes that schools were here to educate us, the motive of the state government is we're here for profit. To be molded into workers, they don't care what happens after high school because they don't hunt us down to make sure that we're successful people in their career. There are those who still work minimum wage, and then there are those who take all the profit. So if they cared, why would we have this fight in the first place? We're young and developing women in society, so shouldn't they be invested in our future?
Yes.
The next step is bringing change. We can stand here and speak, but if we don't do anything, then change will never happen. If you have children, nieces, nephews who go to Philadelphia public schools, what are they doing now? Do they know what's going on? Do they care that their future is slowly deteriorating down the road? Do you care enough to make them get involved, tell your neighbors, your friends, and your families? So instead of accepting these choices, we need to stop the ignorance and stop living according to the status quo. The more the community